Suffered many verbal confrontations with customers who get upset with delays at the counter and similar events in the bank. Thank you for that, Ken. Paper boys too, apparently. Here's Lee in Leeds. Hello, Lee. How are you?
Morning, Jules. How are you doing?
I'm really well. Nice to hear your lovely voice again.
And you.
Tell me about when you were abused and going about your job.
Yeah, I was aged about 13 or 14 at the time. I was walking down a main road and three young teenagers, must have been like 15, 16 years old, was walking up towards me. I had a feeling something was going to happen. So I tried to cross over the road, and they crossed over at the same time. And I thought, yeah, something's going to go on here. They pinned me down to the floor, and they kicked me in the stomach for no reason whatsoever.
And you were just going on around your paper round, were you?
Yep, all I was doing was walking up the street with my paper bag and delivering the Yorkshire Evening Post.
Why on earth would they have attacked you for no reason? Are there people who just like to beat people up?
I think there is. But I was lucky because a woman saw what was going on. She ran out of the house straight away, called 999 from her mobile phone, and the lads just ran away, luckily. But it shook me up pretty bad. And I think to this day, I've still got fear of teenagers. Like, I'm 28 now, but when I'm walking down the street now, if there's a group of kids, I'll cross over the road because that has affected me so badly. It's
a shame, isn't it? Because that was a terrible experience, but most teenagers are pretty harmless.
That's right. People assume that's what all teenagers are like, but it's not true at all. Like, I was a teenager for years, and that was only one bad experience I had with fellow teenagers.
Why do you think people are so angry? What's going on in the world that drives people to such pointless acts of aggression?
I've literally got no idea. I'm speechless at that question, Jules.
But that's almost the most terrifying thing, isn't it? It's pretty bad when somebody attacks somebody where there's been some sort of provocation, even if you can't really justify it. But to attack somebody just because you can...
You can't turn on the news these days without seeing it. Whether it's over in France, whether it's the US, the shootings, whether it's just walking down the street and seeing it happen to somebody else.
Do you think that's all part... That's interesting. I personally, I wouldn't have thought to link an act of terrorism like the attack in Nice with what happened to you or with traffic wardens being attacked. Do you think all of it ultimately is connected? It's just degrees of violence?
I feel bad for linking it, but yes, Jules, to be honest with you, it all comes from anger. It all comes from how you're brought up. I think not your parents. I'm not blaming the parents. Don't get me wrong. If you're brought up as an angry person, you'll be angry later on in life. But there's degrees of anger, whether it's kicking off in the supermarket, kicking off in the bank, or doing terrorism. It all stems from the same thing: anger.
What do we do about it?
There's nothing we can do.
That's terrifying.
And that's the sad thing about it.
Lee, our starting point today is staff being issued with body cameras, and we just heard from a guy who works in security who's had to give stab vests to his staff. Do you think we're going to get to a situation where anybody in a kind of public-facing job has to have some sort of protection?
Yeah, I think we need it. I think I was speaking to a well-known supermarket delivery driver the other week, and his van is now covered with CCTV in case anyone tried to jump him.
And that's just a guy who delivers your groceries, right?
That's right.
Extraordinary.
And it's shocking that we need CCTV cameras everywhere to protect ourselves.
But the problem is, Lee, we've got CCTV everywhere now, and yet we seem to live in the angriest, most aggressive times we've ever lived in. It doesn't seem to be stopping it, does it?
I think the problem is because I don't think we are getting angrier. It's just that we're finding out about it more with the internet, with 24-hour news channels.
Okay.
We're finding out a lot more of the anger that goes on.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe you are right. Lee, it's always a pleasure. Thank you for your call this morning. Have a lovely day. Take care of yourself. That's Lee in Leeds. Completely unprovoked attack as he delivered the Yorkshire Post as a teenager. Have you been abused or attacked as you went about your job. 0344